Hey everybody, this is Kevin here. New video. It's been a few months since the last one I did, and my apologies for such a long delay, but I've got something at the forefront of my mind that I absolutely have to discuss, and I hope you'll indulge me here for a few minutes. The topic I want to discuss is Obamacare or socialized medicine. This is becoming kind of a hot topic, hot button issue here recently. It's kind of we've kind of known it was going to be coming at some point. I mean, Obama is a Marxist, so naturally, socialized medicine would be the next logical step. But I really just want to discuss and dispel a few myths, and also I wanted to lay out exactly what the process of socialized medicine entails. The first thing I want to do is dispel this constant myth that's being floated around that somehow healthcare is a right. Now, for those who don't have it, believe me, I feel sorry for them. There's nothing worse than being sick and knowing that you don't have the means by which to get yourself better in a speedy manner. And I don't mean to come across as heartless, but this idea of a right is so fallacious and it's so deceitful that it can't go without being crushed utterly. If you define a right as the right to have the government forcibly take from one to give to another, that's theft. That's not a right. It doesn't matter how you cut it, it doesn't matter how you justify it. No such right to theft exists. Hence, there can be no right to health care unless you have the means to provide it for yourself. Theft is not, never will be a right. So I've completely crushed the right to healthcare myth that the snake oil salesmen seem to push pretty regularly when they try to pass this off as, some great contribution to humanity. The next point I wanted to make, actually, the next thing I want to discuss is I want to exactly lay out step by step how socialized medicine will work. Socialized medicine, just like any good or service that the government gets its hands on and starts meddling with, results in costs going up. It is inevitable. Why do they go up? Simple. The added bureaucracy and the added administration force costs up. What happens when you have a company that provides a good or a service that all of a sudden requires more manpower to provide? The cost goes up. It's inevitable. It's basic elementary business, elementary economics. So this idea that the snake oil salesmen push off that somehow if the government gets involved, they can bring costs down. They can do it. I've got news for them. Market forces are far, far stronger than any bureaucrat who thinks they can control them. Market forces will always supersede any micromanager in the bureaucracy and the government. Cost will skyrocket if the government gets involved. If we think we have it bad now, we haven't seen nothing yet. Or what's the old saying, we ain't seen nothing yet? It's pretty poor English, so I apologize that I actually used that. So what happens after we get all these skyrocketing prices? Well, the micromanager who thought they could, micromanage all the added bureaucracy and the added layers of administration and keep costs, actually make costs go down, that same bureaucrat gets the brilliant idea that, yes, I know what we need is price controls. Price controls will keep the cost from skyrocketing. Yes, that will be our salvation. It has to be. No, it doesn't have to be, and actually, it won't be. Because what will happen if we have price controls? Quite simply, any private provider, doctor, hospital, who currently offers, let's say, an MRI, and let's say these new government regulations and this new government meddling drives the cost of providing those MRIs up. Well, guess what? They're going to be far more selective, if we're lucky, far more selective in doing those MRIs. And in most cases, because an MRI is simply an MRI, there's really no way to cut the cost of providing that service. They will have some bean counter who will sit down and do the numbers and say, holy smokes, this thing ain't profitable. We're losing our asses providing these things, these MRIs to people. Why the hell are we doing this? And the decision will be made, just like is made in any private business throughout the country that provides a good or a service. If it's losing money, you cut said good or service. It's common sense. It's basic business. If you know you're losing your tail on something, why would you keep offering it? It's really not that difficult to figure out. Yet these bureaucrats and these snake oil salesmen who just think they can control everything and costs will go down. I mean, they're living in an alternate universe, because in this one, market forces say if you're losing money on something, you're not going to continue to provide a good or service. So, what's the next step after we have reduced goods and services, reduced availability of goods and services? Well, the next step, unfortunately, is the R word, which is rationing. Now, the mouthpiece is out there blowing and tooting the horn for socialized medicine. It's a right. We have to give health care to everybody. They often refer to the conversation of rationing as a scare tactic. Ooh, oh, it's a scare tactic. They're just trying to scare you into thinking that this isn't a great thing. Oh, but believe your government overlords, it is a good thing. We will save you. No, they won't. They will actually contribute to the downfall in the quality of healthcare. When rationing sets in, and it inevitably has to, that's when you get the instances where you have a heart attack. Somebody having a heart attack, it's, have a couple of these aspirin, you'll be fine tomorrow. Or you get somebody with a curable form of cancer and has to wait 16, 18 months to get treatment. By that time, it's inoperable. Or you get somebody with maybe some arthritis and have to sit around and wait for 9 months before they can get basic treatment to deal with the arthritis. This is a reality. This is what happens anytime the government gets involved and socializes healthcare. All you have to do to look for an example is Canada and the UK. Now, if you have something simple like a little sniffle or a cough or a flu, yeah, socialized medicine is actually not a bad thing. But if you have anything serious that requires anything beyond a prescription and a 10-minute doctor visit, you're screwed. And that's just the reality of it. But actually, Canada and the UK aren't even the best examples to talk about rationing. I actually think the best example to talk about rationing is Zimbabwe. Now, most people are aware of the fact that they have sky high inflation, and the government just sits there and pulls the lever, and boom, more monopoly money. Yes, we can print quadrillions of dollars, and everything's going to be great. Well, what happens when they create all that inflation? The prices go up. Quite a novel concept. Now, actually, it's just the natural course of events. So, what happens when the prices of goods go up? The government says, we'll put in price controls. That way we can continue to pull the lever and print all this money, and we can control the prices. And then what happens? You go into grocery stores, as has been covered in mainstream media news articles, and the shelves are empty. Well, what happened? Well, why are the shelves empty? I have an idea. I bet those shelves are empty because the companies that once filled those shelves have realized that with the price controls in place, they can no longer fill those shelves profitably. Wow. That's some pretty good thinking on my part. Man, I must be a genius. No, actually, I'm not a genius. I'm just employing the greatest gift that humanity has ever had bestowed upon it, which is common sense. Something that the snake oil salesman pushing socialized medicine either don't have or consciously make the effort to not use. I encourage anyone who sees the socialized medicine trumpeteers tooting their horn to use a little common sense. If they do, they will see through the scam and the sham that is socialized medicine and the debacle that socialized medicine will eventually become.